Hey, how's it going? It's Nate Savage here, and I know that a lot of guitar players really struggle with bar chords, so I wanted to give you some hacks to make it through bar chords and give you some alternatives at the same time that you can use instead of, full bar chord shapes. That's the typical, E-shaped bar chord that you have to use to play an F major chord. But you don't have to play that full, huge shape. The first little hack I have for you is to use little partial mini shapes, and the first one comes directly from the shape that we're playing, but we're only going to be using these three notes. All the notes in an F major chord, F, A, and C. So your third finger gets the third fret of the D, second finger gets the second fret of the G, and first finger gets the first fret of the B string. And then you mute all the other strings, or just at least don't play them. The index finger can lean over and mute the high E string, and then you can mute the other two strings, the little E and A, with the palm of your hand. And that's kind of the first level of, getting past this full bar chord shape. Another thing that you can do is from this shape, you can lay down your index finger to put a little mini bar here on the top of the first fret of the high E and the B string. So going from this three-note version, lay your index finger down. And this is a really kind of good gateway into bar chords because you are still doing a bar. A bar is just when you play more than one string on a fret with one finger, just like this. But this allows you to get that top note, that high F in there. So that's a really good option for you too. So instead of playing this whole thing, you can play the three-note version or the four-note version. Now, you're going to see what we're doing is gradually adding notes to this original three-note version from the four-note. What you can also do is take and make an E shape with these three fingers, just like you would with a normal bar chord, and then bar the top two strings as well. So you have a five-note version that you can use. Just leave the low E string out. And that's still a little bit easier than playing this full bar chord version. But the only problem with this one is you don't have the root note on the bottom, which may sound funny in some situations. So what you can do, and this is kind of one of the biggest hacks for bar chords in general, is to reach your thumb around like Jimi Hendrix used to do all the time. And essentially you're playing a full bar chord shape, but you don't have to make a bar at all except for on these top two little strings. So thumb gets the low F here. It's the exact same thing as playing a full bar chord. But it's a little bit different feel, quite a big different feel actually, and it frees your fingers up to do some other things too, so it's a really good skill to be able to have and play, even if you can already play regular bar chords. So from there to there, and it takes a while to get used to this. It is pretty weird feeling. I had a hard time doing this when I first started, but as soon as I got the hang of it, it turned out to be really useful. And one thing I will mention about this particular technique is when you use your thumb, you want to kind of collapse your hand or your palm to the back of the neck. Right here. Normally I'll keep my thumb on the back of the neck when I'm making a bar chord, but when I collapse it like this, it makes it a little bit easier to reach around with that thumb. And if this is new to you, it'll take a while to get it down. It may take a while to get that ability to stretch around if you have small hands, but it is a good option. I have one more hack for you for playing chords like F major or F sharp major before getting into some tips for regular bar chords. And that is that you don't have to use this E shape to play an F major chord. You can use the D shape just as easily. So, and it's pretty close to the fifth fret. Normally you have a D major chord. If you move that up to where your root note is on the sixth fret of the B string with your third finger there, that's an F. So if you just play the top three strings with a D shape, with your third finger on that root note on the sixth fret, that's going to be an F major chord too. And I usually bring my thumb around to mute these lower strings so I don't accidentally hit them. And that's a great way to play an F chord or an F sharp major chord. Now, a couple things that'll help you start to develop the ability to play these full bar chords is number one, don't even worry about the full shape at first. Only worry about building strength in your index finger and developing your bar technique. So get your finger right behind the fret, tilt it back a little bit to where it's on the edge of your finger, not like the fleshy middle part. That'll help a lot. And start to work on this every day for like 5 minutes. Any more than that, your hand's gonna get tired. But the idea is to create a nice, good clamp between your thumb on the back of the neck and your index finger, right behind the fret. Roll to the back of the edge of your finger a little bit, bring your elbow in, and then just go up fret by fret, developing that strength. And then your technique for this bar too. Also, you're gonna wanna mess around with your finger placement this way because you have those creases on your finger So you're gonna wanna minimize the effects of those, because sometimes you'll get this, right? And if you do, you just need to go through this checklist right behind the fret, thumb on the back of the neck, elbow in, adjust your finger placement so you can minimize the effects of those creases, and just work on this bar technique by itself every day, moving it up and down the fretboard before trying to put the whole shape on. That'll help you a lot, so when you have this bar technique and strength developed, when you put the whole shape on, it'll be much easier to get a clean sound out of that. So those are just some tips and hacks to help you be able to play bar chords and give you some alternatives for, the classic full bar chord shapes. If you have any questions about any of this, you can always contact me or leave a comment below the video. See you later.